What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 22. My name is Victor Vasquez. Thank you so much for coming back and listening. It's been a long time, guys. It's almost been over a month since I did my last episode, which was the Batman, but I am finally back with a new podcast, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It is the new film starring Michelle Yeoh, just talking about different types of items like multiverses, action sequences, a lot of heart. It's a great film, and we're going to be talking about that on this episode today. For any new folks that have not listened to the podcast before, what I try to do on this specific, really audio and podcast is really talk about a specific film, give you my thoughts, my opinions, and then make the final suggestion. Is this film timeless? And what does timeless mean? It just means, is this film something that you would watch down the road, a couple years down the road, maybe a couple times later this year after you've watched it? It's really, again, a film that just does not change over time. It still, stays as one of your top films that you could watch at any moment or at any point in your life. And, is it ridiculous that you're trying to make that distinction after one viewing? Yes, definitely. But I'm going to do that anyway. So let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So I'd like to start off with the reason as to why I wanted to watch this film. One of the first reasons was just watching the trailer for this movie. It showed off this wacky concept of a woman being able to experience her life in different multiverses. The idea of multiverse has been always super interesting to me. Right now, it's even more just because of the heightened level that we're seeing it in different properties like Marvel and other specific films in the past as well. And so again, that concept seems like it's growing more and more people are maybe wanting to see that or ask about it. And so why not? It just seems like an interesting sci-fi type of a theme for a movie. And so I was all in on that specific end. I also think that the film hooked me because it was, again, at the perfect timing in regards to what all these different types of movies like Multiverse of Madness for Doctor Strange is coming out. You also have, again, other films that deal with other specific universes or even shows as well. And so, again, I think there's just like a perfect storm as to why I wanted to go watch this movie. Another reason why I wanted to watch it was Michelle Yeoh. I really enjoyed her performance in Shang-Chi. And I thought, again, she performs so well in that specific film that, again, it just made me just so happy to see her as the leading actress in a specific film. She's obviously led in different films as well. Other films that she's been a part of are like Crazy Rich Asians, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and even Tomorrow Never Dies, a part of the James Bond series of movies as well. And, of course, because it's Michelle Yeoh, I was super pumped to see how the action scenes would come out. I'm a sucker for all things action. You're probably going to hear that if you listen to any of the previous episodes of the podcast. But again, as soon as I saw Michelle Yeoh bust out some crazy and awesome martial arts in Shang-Chi, and I'm pretty sure she busted that same kind of ability in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I was just super excited to see, okay, what is she going to be able to do in this specific film? She also does a lot of her own stunts. So I thought, okay, this is going to be some really crazy martial arts stuff, and I'm all for it. So those were the reasons of why I wanted to watch Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Let's go ahead and jump into my detailed thoughts about the movie. All right, guys, I went to check this film out at AMC, and I gotta say, I really liked it. I did not expect the movie to be that funny. There was so many ridiculous moments that the film just had me laughing out loud multiple times. However, the film also had a great message. It was just very much heartfelt. It just kind of made you, it tugged on those feelings, Now, for me, personally, the film was really about the ability to cherish our life. No matter what decisions we make throughout our lives, no matter how ridiculous or how hard life gets, we have to make sure that we at least enjoy and cherish all the great times with our loved ones. Because again, you never know that when they're going to be able to, be with us or whenever they go away. And so again, to me, that's really the main theme and message that I got from the film. It just gave me a lot of that kind of sense of, okay, everybody's got a hard life, right? Nobody's got it harder than somebody else. We all kind of have our own kind of movies going on in our heads. And so it's really cool to kind of see this specific message play out that, hey, even if you are on hard times or anything like that, just look back and cherish those small moments, those specks in time that we're always going to be looking back on in our lives as well. So the story revolves around a woman named Evelyn, played by Michelle Yeoh. She is a hardworking business owner at a laundromat, is married to her husband, Waymond, played by Ki Hui Kwan, and both also look after their daughter, Joy, played by Stephanie Hsu. On the outside, Evelyn is trying to show the world that everything's okay, but on the inside, she's struggling to keep things together. She's being audited by the IRS while trying to impress her father, who just flew in from another country, while also trying to connect with her daughter as she's also growing up and starting to become a woman on her own as well. The film does an awesome job in setting up Evelyn in her life and showing her how her life is just like ours as well, how tough things can get. Again, whether it's hard from a relationship perspective or it's a work perspective, whatever that might be. Again, the film did a really good job to kind of make that connection because everybody can at least, feel to one of those specific areas, right? We've all had a position where, we might not like our job, or we've all had that specific situation where we have problems with our family. And so it just did a really good job to connect that in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the film. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about any specific moments, but I just want to let you know that at a specific point, as we're getting to know Evelyn's life, we also get to experience the taste of the multiverse. And after she encounters Waymond. Now, not her husband Waymond, but we actually end up finding out that it's a Waymond from another universe. And it was actually a very quick change because we see both Evelyn, Waymond, and her father Gong Gong in an elevator at the IRS office. And they're all going in the elevator, and then all of a sudden, Waymond kind of drops his head, and then he immediately kind of pops up, and it's a complete character change. So up until this point, Waymond has been seen as a very gentle, very sweet, and shy man. But then we see Waymond from the multiverse. And as he takes over Waymond's body, you can see that his demeanor changes. He's more serious. He's confident. He's trying to warn Evelyn about a danger that is coming for her from the multiverse. This is where, again, we get glimpses of the different multiverses that Evelyn is a part of. And so we get to see how her life played out if she had made different choices throughout her life. In one of these multiverses, she does not marry Waymond and instead learns to become an elite martial artist. In another multiverse, she seems to, again, not choose the career of being a business owner, but instead wants to dedicate herself to cooking. So she ends up becoming a cook. And again, in another multiverse, she's a famous actress. All these different multiverses look so glamorous to Evelyn, and they look awesome and better than anything that is going on in her current life as a laundromat owner with her family. But as the film goes on, you start noticing that all of these different Evelyns in the different multiverses are all missing the thing that she currently has now, which is her family. So although it is tempting for her to want that life of being an actress or being a cook or being dedicated to martial arts, again, as the film goes along, she realizes that none of those Evelyns are actually fully happy because they're still missing that big puzzle piece. And that puzzle piece is her husband and her daughter. That's again what Evelyn ends up kind of determining throughout the film as we follow her along. Again, it's going to take her time to kind of realize that importance of her family. But again, it's just a great connection that they make to let the audience know, again, is that yes, your life might be hard, but never underestimate the pieces that you have around you, like your family or your friends as well. And again, it also kind of tries to let you know that, it doesn't matter how your life may have turned out. It really, all that matters is what do you have now and how can you cherish those little moments? And again, life will be good. Now, I once again, I'm not going to go into too much detail as to who the antagonist of the film is, as I want you all to check it out. But the threat is basically trying to destroy all the multiverses Evelyn is a part of. So in order to save her own existence, Evelyn pulls from all the different types of Evelyns in the multiverse in order to try to restore all of them back to normal. It's a very much a trippy movie that is all over the place, but I loved it. In order for Evelyn to experience the different multiverses, she had to actually do something very out of the ordinary and weird. There's so many things that occur that make you go, what? But it's just all so funny that it works. Again, the answer is, hey, multiverse. That's why we have to do that. So, but again, as you kind of go through the story, it just all kind of makes sense. I also have to mention that, how much I really like the visuals of the film. From different jumps to the multiverses to the action scenes, it just made watching the film that much more enjoyable. I always was anticipating, okay, when's that next jump, or how is everything going to look in this universe and that universe? It's just so many different things that were going on, and I loved it. There was also specific scenes at the beginning where Wayman from the multiverse had to fight security guards. That whole fight sequence was so cool as well, and it set the tone for the rest of the movie from an action perspective. Again, such a great action sequence. Wayman ends up knocking out about 4 or 5 guys, all using a specific fanny pack that he had. And so he was just wailing on guys, knocking them out, throwing them into tables, and it just made it look all so effortless. And again, that just set the bar for how good the visual effects and even the fighting scenes would be in this specific film as well. Such a cool movie. I loved it, and I really enjoyed my time watching it in the theaters. The runtime also wasn't even that bad. It was only about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So again, I highly recommend everyone go check out this movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, now that I've kind of gone through my detailed thoughts about the movie, I wanted to highlight some of the actors or actresses' performance that I really liked. From the specific movie, there were 2 individuals that really caught my eye. Gotta give a big shout out to Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn. She did awesome at the beginning of the film to, again, portray how hard Evelyn's life was, trying to keep it all together. Then you see her progress as she understands that although, again, other multiverses might seem more glamorous or might seem just a lot better of a life, her life at that moment was just as good, if not better. By the end, she has completely changed, now more calm and understanding that, again, every second she lives, she will now make it count, whether it's with Waymond and showing him more love or being more supportive for her daughter as well. She is definitely more at peace at the end of the film, and you can see that, again, just by the different expressions that Michelle Yeoh is able to portray. However, I think my favorite performance of the film had to be Waymond, played by Ke Huy Quan. He had to really distinguish the various Waymans that he had to play, and he did an excellent job in all of them. I noted at the beginning, Waymond was a very sweet and humble man, but the multiverse Waymond was a way more serious, down to earth, realistic, and again, very much in tune with his abilities to fight different types of dangers as well. And so he knew that he had to do whatever it took to stop the destruction of the multiverse from happening. We even get to see a Waymond from a different universe where he's a wealthy businessman and didn't marry Evelyn. His personality is completely different in that universe as well. And he looks just completely different. He's got a suit. He's got his hair combed. He's got nice glasses. There's just so many different things. And again, Ke Huy Quan did a great job in portraying those different types of Waymonds. So many great moments and lines by Waymond himself. It just made his performance my favorite overall. Shout out to the rest of the cast as well. They did really well. And just again, every character was so unique. Stephanie Hsu playing Joy was awesome. Again, she's trying to be, growing up and trying to be a woman on her own, not trying to follow in her mother's footsteps. You also have Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays some sort of like a villain in that movie. Don't want to, again, spoil that much about it. But everyone did an awesome job in this specific film, and I loved it. All right, now I want to jump into my favorite scene of the film. Spoiler warning, again, for anybody that has not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. I, again, don't want to ruin any kind of experiences for you guys, but I do want to at least spoil this specific scene. It doesn't actually spoil anything about the specific plot. It's more about what kind of happens in a specific situation that Evelyn faces. All right, well, my favorite scene is, no surprise, an action sequence. However, this scene is so ridiculous and makes no sense, but I loved it. At one point, Evelyn is fighting these multiversal threats that are trying to capture her. At one point, she's actually pinned against a wall and she can't escape. All of a sudden, she is able to experience a multiverse where Evelyn trained her pinkies to be weapons. Yes, pinkies, her pinky fingers to be weapons. And then in this multiverse, you see her in a montage where she basically is doing push-ups only using her pinkies. She's training, doing punches, only using her pinkies. And then she's even doing a scene where she flexes her pinkies and you actually see muscles come out of those pinkies. Muscles! It's like, it's ridiculous just me even explaining it, but when you see it, it's just even more hilarious. She then pulls that experience and then uses her pinkies to basically knock down 4 different types of threats of, I guess they were security guards in this case. At one point, she even pinky punches a guy 20 feet in the air. And as soon as he comes down, she basically uses that pinky to push him straight to the floor and knock him out. It was ridiculous. It was hilarious at the same time. They also shot that scene beautifully and made the fight sequence very, very real. That again was my personal favorite scene. It was just so out of the box and different that, again, using your own pinkies to fight off different threats was just so funny. But guys, let me know what you thought. If you've seen that movie, let me know what you thought about that specific scene, if you thought it was hilarious. And if that wasn't your favorite scene, which one was? Let me know down below in the comments of this YouTube video. All right, now that I went through my favorite scene, I want to talk about if I recommend watching this movie in theaters or if you can wait for it for streaming. I mentioned it earlier on the podcast. I went to check this out at AMC, and I actually think this movie would be better fit if experienced at a theater. Not by much, but I just feel like there's just so much action, and the visual aspects of the film just lend itself to be on the big screen. Anytime Evelyn jumps into a different universe, the visuals change and so much is going on the screen that it's just so cool following her through the wormhole of another universe. I also appreciated the experience with the audience I was with. Everyone was laughing at the ridiculous scenes and being grossed out at other scenes as well. It's just so cool when the entire theater is reacting to the movie in a specific way that kind of matches what you're feeling as well. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I always enjoy checking out movies in theaters. If you're not able to go, then you can definitely wait for it to go on a streaming service. But out of the two options, I would definitely lean more towards watching the film in theaters. That way you can experience all the craziness on a big screen with a big group of people, and hopefully kind of everybody kind of gathers in and laughs at those same scenes that are just hilarious as well. All right, everybody. This is the last segment of the Timeless Movie Podcast, and that is, does this movie have the potential to be timeless? All right, the part everyone is waiting for, is Everything Everywhere All at Once a timeless movie? I would say as of today, yes, it is. In my opinion, the film contains all the stuff that I like from a timeless movie: funny moments, cool characters, awesome visuals, and action scenes, and just a really good message as well. Is it the most heartfelt message? Probably not, but it's still a good message overall. The entire cast did so well to differentiate their characters when they would jump into different multiverses. And there were so many what the hell moments in the film that I wanted to mention here, but I just don't want to. Again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody as well, but I can definitely see myself kind of wanting to go back and watch it again just to laugh all over again as well. Now, my feelings about this movie can definitely change, but at the moment, it's a film that has the right mix of things that makes me want to come back and watch it. I also think the concept of the movie helps with why I enjoyed it. It's not based on anything in reality, and it's just straight sci-fi movie where a character is able to see how her life pans out in different realities. It helps her understand, again, how good of a life she has now, and how one change in a specific perspective can help us see that as well. You know, yes, you were probably a famous actress or a famous singer, but you might be missing that love of your life as well. Or yes, you may not be a business owner and you're a cook now, but you're missing something else like your daughter as well. And so there's just so many different elements that you kind of see that from a different perspective. And I really appreciate that the movie was able to present that in a good way as well. All right, guys, those are my opinions on why I think this movie is timeless. Now, can my opinion change? Heck yes, it can. Maybe in a year I wouldn't consider this movie timeless at all, but who cares about what I think? What do you guys think about this movie? What were your favorite moments about the film? And is it a timeless one for you? Let me know down below in the comments, and that way we can interact with each other as well to talk about everything, everywhere, all at once. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming back and listening. My name has been Victor Vasquez. This has been episode 22 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out next week's episode because we're going to be talking about The Northman. That's right, starring Alexander Skarsgård and Anya Taylor-Joy. It's going to be such an awesome movie. I cannot wait. But guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.